Welcome back to our special live broadcast, Humanity Before Borders. I'm your host, Joseph McGowan. We have been broadcasting over the last 2 days a extreme event taking place right now, a March for Life tomorrow on the Turkish-Bulgarian border with 106 members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, all fleeing for safety, all fleeing for freedom, all fleeing for humanity and the right to exist on earth, because as you have noticed and you heard in the last segment, not only are they facing death threats, but now they don't even have the right to exist. They are having their homes taken away, having their children taken away, their education, their rights to business, their right to life. So it is extreme. We hope all of you who are joining us now, you go to our Facebook Live events page, just go to Humanity Before Borders. All the information is there. You'll see it updated as we speak. We also have members of the international press on the ground who we'll be in touch with, updating us along the way today and also tomorrow. And we will have special live coverage tomorrow morning, starting at 3:13 in the morning, all throughout the day, so you can cover everything that's happening. You can be up to date. I'm joined here today again with my colleague Hadila Kuli and now with Hamid Reza. You are a bishop of Iran and you have been working this case for a very long time now. We are going to go into this because Iran is by far one of the most extreme cases that I've seen so far taking place with the members of this religion. But before we do so, we have a breaking news update that I think it's really important for all the people at home to understand. It's a tweet coming out from one of the organizations, and I want you to read that for the viewers at home. And what does this mean for the religion? What does it mean for the brothers and sisters who are currently on the border today?
Yeah. So the tweets are from the Border Violence Monitoring Network. That's this same network that published the open letter today and has taken this initiative along with 29 other human rights organizations and have published the open letter that we've read in the morning. And they have also made these tweets now that really drive the point home on what the situation is. And I'll read the tweets and then I quickly like to comment on it. So the tweet is saying that states and institutional bodies often complain that asylum seekers do not present themselves at formal border crossing points and seek to enter countries illegally. This indicates that there are legal pathways for presenting yourself at a border and asking for asylum. And then the second tweet says, this group, talking about the 106 members, this group planned to do exactly that. And so we urge the response of the Bulgarian authorities and Frontex to align with national EU and international asylum and human rights law by granting them the opportunity to lodge their claim and have a full individual assessment.
Wow, how powerful is that? It's like, look, you have been saying for years how you wish people would just respect the laws that have been established in the land and just come through the legal way, come through the correct way. Now these men and women are actually doing so, and I want to remind everybody, and especially Iran and Iraq and Algeria and all these other countries that's been doing this to the members of the faith, live stream on satellite TV all throughout the MENA region and via internet. They're taking the legal steps. Let them through. Do the right thing.
Exactly. I mean, the stance of the 106 members, it's really putting a lot of things to test. It's putting to test all these commitments of EU countries that they have, number one, signed on, number two, incorporated as laws in their national laws, and all the commitments of these states. It's putting to test humanity really before border, because now this group is doing exactly that, and the group made that choice very consciously to not go. They don't want to enter illegally. They don't want to, as some of the refugees are unfortunately forced to go through smugglers and face tremendous threats to their life and safety. And this group has made that very conscious choice and decision that they will go through the formal border crossing points, that they will present themselves legally and follow exactly as the law states. And that means, if you're saying that's exactly the point of the tweet, if the border agencies, if the EU authorities are telling refugees that they hope that they would take the official route, that means that you are recognizing that there is a right and a way for you to legally and formally claim asylum at the border. Yes. And that's exactly what they're doing. So if they are forbidden from that tomorrow, and we hope that it will not happen, that puts so many red flags and raises so many questions of a huge contradiction in international law.
Yes.
Because you are telling them, this is your way to enter, this is what they're doing, and then what would that mean if you don't allow them?
I mean, it means there'd be a humanitarian crisis on the border of Turkey and Bulgaria. I think that's what it means tomorrow. And I think this gives us a little insight of the characters that we're talking about. And we want to maybe get started in this way, because we spoke with Yasmin in the last segment about the Algerian brothers and sisters and the children. I think what this is also suggesting in this statement, in this tweet, that there is a chance that
Absolutely.
they might not make it through, and that's what we're concerned about, because this is the point of no return. There is no going back home for these men, women, and children. And yet, even them knowing that, and knowing that there is a threat against their life, and there's a threat against their children's life, and their husband and wife's life, their brother and sister's life, that they didn't take the illegal route of going through smugglers, which would have been, I think, a knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people at home. My life's in danger, my wife's life's in danger, more importantly, my children and their lives are in danger. We got to get out by any means necessary, yet they're still choosing to take the legal route. Give the viewers at home, first of all, introduce yourself, what your role is in the religion, and who are some of the characters that you've come to know over this period, the sufferings that they've gone through,
Yes.
and now how they're taking these legal steps, and what the current situation is on the ground right now on the border.
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for having me on the show, and today I'm here to stand up for our people who are innocent. They haven't done any crimes, and I'm here to stand up for humanity before everything else. And that's what my religion has taught me. That's what I have learned, since a very young age, to stand up for humanity. So that's why I'm here today, to defend these people in front of the whole world and show them that our people are absolutely innocent, and they are being persecuted for just believing in peace, in justice, in goodness. And these are some of the best people that I have met, some of the best Iranians, in fact, I have met throughout the past 6 years, and I would like to talk about these people. My name is Hamid Reza, and I am the Bishop of Iran and Afghanistan, and as of right now we have 77 members of our religion in Iran, and some of them are, to be honest, they are very scared to even talk to me over Telegram, WhatsApp, all these apps online, because of the government. And we have many more members, and from time to time they contact me if they have questions about the religions, our religion, if they have needs, and they stay anonymous even with me. And when I ask them, hey, what's going on, is everything okay, they tell me, we are scared of the Iranian government. It's like this government is like a bully. It's like a demon entity, above these people in Iran, and it's not hidden from anyone. You just check out the news. You know how the Iranian government is. And the Iranian government has done a huge list of crimes against humanity. They have done a huge list of crime against humanity. Like, you name it, from discrimination on freedom of speech to basically putting people in prisons and jails without giving them reasons. For example, when you were talking about the Algerians, you were showing these official letters that they received from the court. In Iran, when they took our members to prison, they didn't give them any official letters. They didn't give them a single letters. And I was in touch with few of these members, and I told them, I said, listen, ask for some official letters. They said they are not handing anything to us, because they know for a fact what they are doing is against humanity, and it's against the law. It's against what they have signed in the UN under the section of humanity, and we sign up for humanity. We believe in that. The Iranian government doesn't believe in any of this. And I'm going to prove to you today that these people, they have no goodness in them, and they are against humanity.
Now, when you started off this, you began receiving reports, I imagine, from the believers. This began through just basic social media communications. They're reaching out. I'm imagining they're reaching out. They're asking questions. They're trying to understand their religion. They're trying to understand, what their place is in this society that clearly, from the very beginning, will not allow them to practice anything. Like they're in complete hiding at this point. What were some of the first reports you were receiving from the believers? Was it from their family? Was it from the government themselves? Did they feel like they were being monitored online? You mentioned that. I mean, what, their computers, their phones, their houses? What was going on?
One of the first reports I got was that these members, all of these members were receiving messages through Telegram from random names, random people that they have never ever met, and like being threatened by random people, telling them, hey, we know your name, we have your address. And sometimes they would even give them more information. Hey, we know you live here. Hey, we know you have your wife and you have 2 kids in this house by this name. You have a car. This is the number plate of your car. This is your phone number. And they used to, scare them. Just random people out of nowhere. So I started getting these reports by the end of 2018 and beginning of 2019, and I realized that it's getting a little bit dangerous. And some of our members, they had to excuse themselves and not to be active anymore. So they were not even active online anymore. Still, they were getting threatened by their family members and random people on the streets. I had hundreds of reports from these people just telling me, hey, brother Hamid, Reza, I was walking in the street today and somebody just stopped me and they're like, hey, we know that you are not a 12er Shia Imami, or hey, why you don't show up in the mosque, why you are not praying in our mosque anymore. If you don't show up this Friday, we are going to report you to the police station down the road.
I feel like I'm blast back in the past of Nazis or something. What would you do if you were walking down the street? Like honestly, just you as a character walking down the street and you're approached by an unknown person saying, "I know what you're doing on social media. I know what you believe in. I know you're not attending the religious circles that we believe in. We're watching you." How would you feel? I mean, I'm trying to imagine.
This would be so terrorizing. So terrorizing for me and my family. I would feel so scared. I mean, because you wouldn't know if somebody goes to that length of monitoring me and knowing what I'm doing. They would go to equal length to do whatever they think is right in their head, whatever punishment I deserve, me and my family.
They feared for their life. Those were reports you were receiving in the beginning.
Yes, and then in the beginning of 2019, I received a message from one of our members saying, by the way, they are making a series about our religion. So that was very shocking to me.
They, as in the state now?
Yes, state, the Iranian government. And I looked at this video and I see it's just a bunch of lies, and they are trying to show us as, these, unfortunately, as these terrorist organizations like ISIS. They are comparing us to ISIS. They are saying that maybe MI6 has made this group the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. They are bringing the names of our leaders, religious leaders like Ahmad al-Hassan and Abdullah Hashem.
You mentioned, I think this might be a clip from this. This is an Iranian propaganda. This is from the state government. I want to make sure that everybody understands this. This is not from some religious extremists or some fanatics.
It's not from a YouTuber.
No, not from YouTube. This is from the Iranian government right now. Clips that are clearly mixed. I mean, none of this has anything to do with us. I mean, look at this. They're showing clips of ISIS. They're showing clips of Al Qaeda. They're showing clips of people that are not even part of our. These people don't even belong to us. And then they flash our faces.
Yes.
All of a sudden they put us in the mix of it like we belong to anything. Like this
Yes.
is absolutely insane.
So look, most of the
Aired
faces
on national TV.
aired
right?
on national
Can you imagine?
national TV several times, and they brought some very famous scholars, Shia scholars, and what they are saying is that basically these people are very dangerous, and these people are growing inside Iran and outside Iran. That's what they are saying, and they are saying very dangerous thing. One thing they are saying is that they are causing problems between the Shia sects and the Sunni sects. So what they are saying is that we are an extra sect that appeared out of nowhere. We are Israeli agents made by MI6, and some Americans or Israelis came and made this whole religion, fake religion, out of nothing. And then they show some random footages of ISIS people holding guns and shooting guns. And then they are saying that the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, it's like the ISIS. Then they go further ahead, show our religious leader, Abdullah Hashim Abu Sadr, and they are saying, the first thing they say is this: he's an American Egyptian. Because they know that the Muslim communities, they can play these emotional games with them, especially Iran. Iran is a little bit sensitive over America and all the sanctions throughout these past 40 years. After Shah left, the relation between the United States and Iran is not really good. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
So they are trying to also play on that thing, trying to say that this is all a made-up religion by America, Israeli agents, MI6, and they are picturing us as national enemies, enemies of the Iranian state.
Yeah.
And this is very dangerous.
Yeah, let's focus on this, because
Yes.
what does that mean? I mean, that means that you have an entire country,
Yes.
an entire country with all of its cybersecurity, with all of its media, with all of its force, really, if you will, launching for me, correct me, a statewide conspiracy, a campaign against a minority religion, a recognized religion with members all around the world, creating what certainly seems to be an atmosphere of what you've been talking about the last 2 days, of this network of religious scholars to issue fatwas,
Yes.
to deem it permissible to do anything to these, what they seem to be as a subhuman class, not even worth being called subhuman, to take their assets, to take their properties, to take their children, take their lives.
Yes.
And you've seen this now. I mean, you've seen cases where it's ramped up and increased since the release of the Gospel Goal of the Wise, where they've been attacking its members, literally throwing them in prison. I mean, how many cases of prison have you seen because of this campaign of the government? And do you believe that since they launched this propaganda, that's where it's coming from?
Yes, exactly. And you know what? In 2019, they arrested 3 of our members. Right after the release of this video, 3 of our members got arrested. They were reported, 2 of them were reported by their family members. Because now imagine, all the Iranians, they watch this show, this program. And now they are all getting scared. They are like, what is this? This is another ISIS? Because they have no idea what is our message, what is our religion. They are just seeing a bunch of lies on their national TV. They trust their media, and they think this is us. And obviously these family members, they have heard about the belief of their son, their daughter, their children, husband, wife. They freak out. Obviously they're like, what is going on? This is an enemy of a state in my house. I don't want that. And many family members, they had problems and issues. So three members at that time, they got arrested. One by the name of Muhammad Reza, one by the name of Muhammad Razi, and one by the name of Qasim. Muhammad Razi and Qasim, they lived in the same city. And them both told me that their family members actually reported them because they were getting really scared. They were afraid. And Iran has a very, what do you call it, a weird law, and that is that if you believe in something that's against the Iranian government and your family stays quiet and doesn't say anything, it is as if your family is also supporting you.
And by the way, if you allow me just to clarify, being against the Iranian regime, what does that mean? It's not that the community in Iran or the believers, that they have an agenda. the belief is, for example, one of the tenets of the faith, we don't believe that the so-called marja'iyya or the scholars are gods. You know, a scholar is a scholar. In Iran, if you don't take the scholar literally as your god and you blindly follow him and you subscribe and you do whatever he says and you stay away, by default, you become an enemy of the state.
Exactly.
So the definition is the reason why they told them you are traitors of the state. Why? It's because they don't subscribe to the so-called idea of wilayat al-faqih. That's it.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
I just really, I want to say, because my mind's whirling right now, there's a lot going on right now.
Yes.
Where I come from, if you defame a character or an organization or a religion, or you slander them, or you release fake news or false news about them all over the media, all over the internet, that puts their lives in danger, and that's really not just a character assassination, but a physical human assassination, which is creating these scenarios where they might actually die. I mean, what is that? I mean, what are the human rights organizations saying about this? I mean, this is something that is like suable. This is something that is a crime in itself.
Yes.
Yet they're launching this all over Iran. Have you heard anything from the organizations about this type of propaganda that's being played? What are they saying about this?
I mean, just as a headline, the UN has a special rapporteur, an Iran special rapporteur on the issue of religious freedoms in Iran. So the UN dedicated a whole program, a whole special rapporteur on that issue specifically. Why? Because they know that to what length religious freedom is violated in Iran, almost non-existent. So that's just as an overall of what international human rights organizations know about the situation in Iran. And now specifically on the case of the Iranians and the 15 members of our religion who got arrested in Iran, we had many human rights organizations such as Human Rights Without Frontiers, one of the top EU human rights organizations, report about the arrest of the members of the religion, how their human rights and their freedoms of religion are being abused, and calling upon the Iranian regime to release them. We had interviews. Iran International covered the story. Had an interview.
Huge, Iran International.
Of course.
Yes.
I mean, Iran International, I think, would be the number one.
Yes, Iran International, as of right now, is the number one, satellite channel that's, talking against the Iranian government and all their crimes against humanity within Iran. And in fact, their headquarters was in London, and they had to move out of London to New York. Why? Because the Iranian government, one of the scholars issued a fatwa against them, and the Iranian government, actually one of their top officials came out and on the national TV, Iranian national TV, he said that we are going to target some of the workers in Iran International TV. And then Iran International TV, they had fear over the lives of their members, so they moved out. I just wanted to bring your attention to an article, because I mentioned that even the family members of those our members in Iran, they are not going to support our members. They are scared for their lives, because everybody know in Iran, if you criticize the government or if you take a religion that's different than the religion of the government, or you go against wilayat al-faqih, you just believe it. You don't even preach it. You believe, this is my belief. And if it is not aligned with the belief of the wilayat al-faqih, if you criticize the government a little bit, just few words, you get arrested and executed like this man, and also your family members like this man, and thousands of other examples. If your family members, they do not support the government, they can get arrested too. So the family members, they had no choice but to cooperate with the government, unfortunately. This left no space for our members in Iran.
For any protection.
For they had no protection at all but to escape or to go and hide. Whoever could escape, they escaped, and they are part of those 106. 20 of them managed to escape, and the rest of the members are hiding inside Iran. Some of these members, from time to time, they drop me a message with different numbers every time. This is how fearful they are over their lives and the lives of their children and women. And some of them, I have no idea where they are, and I hope they are okay. You know, I'm to be honest, I think the Iranian government, they have crossed the red line with humanity, and they have done a long list of crimes against humanity and against our members, and this is not right.
No, this is unbelievable. I mean, for the fact that the reason why half the country is revolting and protesting is simply because of this. I cannot see any person supporting a government like this, unless it's by fear or corruption or ignorance. I mean, how can you even allow something like that to even take place, like in a country? So we understand now. We've seen this theme of believers in these Muslim-backed states not being able to even exist. I think that's the main message I want to give in this segment. Is this is beyond even like gathering or even exist. Like they're hiding. They're hiding in their homes. They're hiding in their communities. They're hiding outside. And now, as we speak, there are currently believers in. This is some of the believers
This is one of their secret gatherings that they are having. Some of our innocent members, all they are doing, they gather together, they talk about God, they talk about peace and justice and goodness in the world. They meditate together. They, they eat together. They maybe sit together, read books. That's all they are doing. Right now, they were hiding here. By the way, they were hiding from their family members.
This just came to me, and I want everybody at home to imagine this. And really, let's think about this. All the things that we take for granted in life, just basic Zoom calls with your family, reaching out to your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Your friends are across the world that you met on the internet, and you're calling them, and you're just having a 2-minute chat with them. Hey, are you okay? How are you? Hey, we're here together. I'm thinking about you. To them, this is a secret operation. To them, this is, if they're caught sending a message to one of the believers around the world, they can be condemned. They would be apprehended, abducted, thrown into prison, disappear, tortured, possibly killed, just for that gathering that we just saw. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm being...
and turning their family members against them. I mean, imagine what atmosphere of fear that they are creating in your own home. So when they're saying that your family members basically have an obligation towards the state to report you, can you imagine the fear, the atmosphere that you're living in your home if they're seeing you writing your message to...
My son's talking to them again.
That's it. I mean, it is crazy psychological torture. To turn family members against each other. I mean, religious persecution is so scary because you find your own parents seeing you now as an infidel and feeling justified to take you and report you and throw you to the authorities. I mean, it's criminal.
Yes,
this is a militia government.
Yes. Some of these stories I heard, they were so extreme. To me, it was worse than any other stories I've ever heard. You know, first of all, in Iran, they will have no mercy on you. You know, if you're young, old, sick, healthy, men, women, they have no mercy on you. For example, those 15 members that were arrested, 2 of them were 2 little kids. 7 years old and 14 years old. From the beginning, when they got arrested, they prevented them from drinking and eating. And those 2 kids, they cried so many times. Imagine that, please. Put yourself in their shoes. I want everybody who's watching this program, please imagine those were your kids. What would you do? You're just believing in a peaceful religion, and this oppressive government arrests you and take your 2 little kids, handcuff them, they are trying to blindfold them, and your kids are freaking out in the middle of night, and it's cold, and they are begging for water and food. And when one of the members, who were also handcuffed at the time by the name of Muhammad Reza, when he was trying to get some water and food for these kids, and he was begging the officers to have mercy on them, they started to beating him up in front of the kids.
Can we get a picture of Muhammad Reza up here, because you were telling us a story before we went on air, and this is heartbreaking. Imagine you are in a scenario right now. If we can get the control room here, Muhammad Reza. Imagine you're out there, and you're in the middle of nowhere. You're being apprehended, and you're seeing these barbarians, really, these brutal henchmen, these government henchmen, apprehending everyone with you, men, women, and children. Here's Muhammad Reza right here, and his only concern, and he knows Iran.
Yes.
He absolutely knows what Iran's capable of. He knows what he's being apprehended for, and he knows what he could potentially face. And his only issue is, guys, please, whatever you do to me, whatever you do to the adults here, please, these children are terrified. These young children are scared. They're thirsty. They're freaking out. They're hurting. Please don't handcuff them. Please give them some water. Stories of Karbala is really what it reminds me of. And yet they abuse him more and they throw him in.
Exactly. And when they took these kids to the Evin prison, which there are tons of stories, horrific stories about this prison. You can read it online. Just Google it, you will find it. Evin prison. When they took them to Evin prison, they separated these two kids from their parents. And the mother at that time, she started crying and begging them, please, these two kids are innocent. What are you guys doing? The kids by the name of Muhammad Hassan and Muhammad Hussein. And the mother, she couldn't do anything. She was just crying and begging for help. And it took several days until they called the grandparents of those kids, and they came and collected the two kids and they take them home. While the parents, the mother and the father, they were inside the prison, still they had no idea where their kids were. And they were playing these mind games with them. They were torturing them physically and mentally. And with Ali Reza Akbari and his wife, they played a lot with them over the two kids. They tried to get, false confessions. They forced them to say, extreme things about our religion and about our religious leaders, such as, that we are a bunch of people who are only after homosexual acts. Things that they know in Iran would result in only death sentence.
And Hadil, you were talking about this. I mean, these are some of the tenets, some of the teachings in the book. I mean, explain a little bit about the stance that the gospel has taken in terms of homosexuality, and how a country like Iran will take that and twist it and make it a means and a weapon for them to send out these marja and send out these fanatical extremists to harm these members, these people who look at them. Look.
Of all ages and just regular people like you and me. I mean, the insanity is, these are not even politically active.
No.
I mean, even if they were, it would have been in their right, because of course you would, protest against such a tyrannical government. But the point is even that they weren't. So they were not even participating in any protests or anti-government. They were just, as Hamid Reza was saying, they were just in their homes learning and studying the religion and communicating together. So what crime have they committed to be subjected to such abuse of their human rights? And one of the stances of the religion is we're a religion that has room for everybody, and we accept everybody regardless of their sexual orientation. So the religion and in the holy book, The Goal of the Wise, we're clearly stating that we're against the persecution and killing of members of the LGBTQ movement. And our doors are open to everyone. And that stance, because of our tolerant stance towards LGBTQ members, specifically, they used that and tried to force the members who were arrested to confess against themselves being involved in homosexual acts. Because exactly as you said, they know that they're basically signing their own death sentence.
Yes.
And they are defaming the religion.
I mean, is that not, that's what I mean by, and I've been saying it for the last few days, this is a government conspiracy. Please help me understand how it could not be anything other than that. conspiring to get people to make false testimony to sentence themselves to death. Also, too, building a larger case, which is something that you believe, and I want you to go into that, against the religion's leader, Abu Sadiq Abdullah Hashim, which we spoke about earlier in a couple segments before, has received multiple death threats, a lot of them coming from this region, coming from Iranian-backed militias, coming from government state actors and these types of fanaticals that are watching their propaganda. He's receiving these death threats, all trying to build a case that this is a heretical religion, a religion that doesn't, it's apostates, infidels, non-human, do whatever you want to them. Yes. That's what you see going on in Iran, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably one of the most active states as actually entity.
Right now, it's
right now.
the most active state against our religion, unfortunately. And as you said, they have taken this great book and they are twisting all the words of our religious leader, and they are turning it against us. So, for example, look at this article from Amnesty that you just had on the screen. So, look, this is just an Iranian LGBTI defender, okay, who was sentenced to death, and this was on Amnesty. Yes. You know, and this is what they are doing to anyone who are defending these people, and this is known in the Iran. You know, the Iranian government, they do not tolerate homosexuality, homosexuals. They do not have any tolerance for these people. So what we are saying in our religion is that we tolerate these people. Our doors are open on anyone. And this is God's religion. You know, this is God's religion, and everyone are His children. His doors are open on everyone. That's all we are saying. We haven't said anything else. We are not saying it's right to be homosexuals, it's bad to be homosexuals. We never said any of these words. Now the Iranian government, they are twisting our words, and these members, these 15 members that they took to prison, they forced them through tortures, keeping them hungry, keeping them thirsty, threatening them with death, threatening them, you know, with their kids, with their family members, that if you do not confess to homosexuality, if you do not confess that your religious leader, Abdullah Hashim Abu Sadiq, if you do not confess that he is forcing you to do homosexual acts between each other and be homosexuals, then we are going to kill you.
Listen to that corruption. Listen to that.
Yes.
What they're doing.
Insane.
Yes. And you know, our members, they were really angry, they were really sad, but they were under a lot of pressure, and they told me, they said, we never signed those few that bailed out, they were bailed out, and 3 of them managed to escape the country. They said, we never signed these papers because we know our religious leader, he never ever said such words. Our religious leader is always calling us to humanity, to help one another, to be nice and good to each other, and all the teachings that Abdullah Shah Abu Sadiq has taught us. So this is what they are trying to do. They are twisting the words, they are making our religion look like a terrorist organization. This is what they are trying to do. It's very clear what their plan is.
I mean, they're completely undecided. They just want to defame the religion. So one time they're saying they try to say it's a terrorist organization, and the other time they're saying it's promoting homosexuality. So what is it?
I've never seen a terrorist organization that is anything like us. I'm blown away, but somehow I'm not shocked by Iran. I mean, I've expected that from them. I think my big concern right now is, as we're speaking right now, there are still several members that are in prison.
Yes.
We haven't heard from them. You haven't heard anything from them. Their families haven't heard from them. There's been no contact. It's unsure what's going to happen to them. We don't know whether they're going to face longer prison sentences. We don't know if they're being tortured or not. We don't know if they're facing... We could literally wake up tomorrow and hear a headline or get news from a family member that 2 members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have now faced a death sentence because of their beliefs in the religion.
Yes. And to be honest, this is not far-fetched. You know, anything is possible from the Iranian government. I am expecting anything from them. And we know how they are. And we know how they've been acting for the past 40 years. And everything that they do, as Hadil said, they do it under the name of God and their religion. They said this is a religious obligation. We have to be firm. We have to, kill everyone that come across infidels or come across weird, that do not go along with our religion or are not aligned with our religious beliefs. We have to get rid of them. This is the Iranian government. For example, one case that's very extreme, and I have a letter here actually from him. Please. One case that's very extreme is the case of one of our members by the name of Muhammad Amin Nouri. He was 16 years old when he believed in our religion. And when he reached 17, he started gathering with some of our members. And unfortunately, his parents, they found out. So they were pressuring him and they were telling him, look, this is a false religion, don't follow them. So he was trying to tell his parents, he was trying to tell them that there is nothing wrong with this religion. So he talked to his mom, he talked to his dad, he showed them the books, the articles that we used to write on our Facebook page, on our YouTube. We had on our YouTube many videos. And yes, this is a perfect image. I'm coming to this in a moment. This is Muhammad Amin actually, and I'm going to talk about that letter which is on his on the left side of the screen. So Muhammad Amin actually proved to his parents that our religion is a very peaceful religion, and to our surprise, his parents, they accepted. But because of the pressure from the government and random messages by anonymous people on Telegram threatening Muhammad Amin, his parents, they got scared. So they also started putting a lot of pressure on Muhammad Amin. So Muhammad Amin, he was meeting up with a couple of other members and he was just living his life. So one day when he was passing by a mosque, he said he was approached by two undercover police officers. Now imagine, he's 17 years old. Here is a teenager, and you can see like he's a young man. Yes. He was just walking in the street, and he said when he was close by a mosque that was on the street, two men approached him and they held him by his arms. They almost lifted him up. So he looked at them, he said, what's going on? And they said, yes, we know about you, you're Muhammad Amin. We are getting reports of you that you are going around, you're talking about the religion that doesn't sound right to us, and you're talking about such and such. What is going on? Listen, this is the last warning you're getting. Do not talk about this anymore. And they confiscated his phone and they tried to go to, go to his phone, check his messages and everything. And at that moment, Muhammad Amin escaped. He escaped. And he said, I escaped for my life because he had no choice. Imagine this.
No, I mean, I'm looking at him right now, and he's wondering,
he's just a young man.
What else am I supposed to do?
Exactly. He ran for his life. So he goes, and he said he went in a hiding for a month, and we didn't have any contact with him too. I didn't know what happened to him. He went missing for a month. Even his parents were worried. Then he came back and he said, yeah, I was running away from these people. And then he was hiding his religious beliefs until they started gathering with other members, and they decided to travel, and they were planning to escape the country together because they knew all this propaganda that was happening in Iran, the propaganda they made on the national TV, and 3 of our members, they got arrested, and how much they are talking against us. They knew that sooner or later they're going to receive that knock on the doors. They're going to get arrested. They're going to get handcuffed. They're going to be taken to prisons, and God knows what's going to happen to them. And they were not getting any support from their family members. So Muhammad Amin said, even one night when I went home, my mom came down, opened the door, and he said, Muhammad, I'm not going to let you inside the house tonight because you have to go back off your religion. So he said, I had a very big argument with my mom, and my mom shut the door in my face. So he said, that night I slept on the street. I mean, this is what's happening to our members. Well, what do you expect? I mean, this is crazy stories. So then Muhammad Amin, with all these things that are happening, and his parents, they cut off his financial support, and there was a lot happening in his life. He said, look, I only have one shot, and that's what? To escape with other members of the religion. So he joined them, and while they were traveling, they got arrested. He was one of them. So in that time, he was 17 years old. And even in Iran, there are rules and laws that if anyone is under the age of 18, you cannot take them to prisons. You have to be, you have to deal with them in certain ways. Yes, you cannot be harsh with them. But they said they were very rough with him. Sure. And from the beginning, they took him away from the rest of the members. So the rest of the members, those few that managed to escape the country, they told me, they said, look, we don't know what happened to Muhammad Amin. And that's very scary. So a month later or so, I was on Telegram. Suddenly, I received a random message from someone I didn't know. And this person on Telegram told me, he said, hey, are you Hamid Reza? I said, yes, I'm Hamid Reza. Who's this? He said, look, it's not important who I am. I just want to tell you that Muhammad Amin is okay. I said, hey, who's this? I want to know about Muhammad Amin. It's been a long time. I don't know what's going on with him. We are really worried about him. Please tell me more. He said, yes, I was in the same prison as Muhammad Amin. And he's being dealt very harshly in the prison. His parents have also said that we are innocent of him. And they are not supporting him. He's left there alone. He has nowhere to go. They are torturing him. They are being very harsh with him. And they said that Muhammad Amin has a letter to the human rights organizations.
Which is the one that
yes, which was the one that was on the screen. Yes, it's in Farsi. And if you read this letter, it's extremely painful. And we even shared this letter on our official Facebook page. Basically, just summarize this letter. He's introducing himself. He's saying, I'm Muhammad Amin. I'm 18 years old. By the way, he turned 18 years old inside the prison.
And this letter, you got it how he basically smuggled it to this friend that came out.
Yes, he smuggled it through his friend who was bailed out by his parents. And this friend came and he said, look, Muhammad Amin, I met him inside the prison. He's such a nice man. He was the best friend I had in the prison. And he told me, he said, I don't even know why Muhammad Amin is in the prison. He hasn't done any crimes. He hasn't done anything even against the government. I don't know why Muhammad Amin is inside there. Muhammad Amin told me, he said, all I did was I am a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. This is what my crime is, because I'm a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. And so he managed to smuggle out a letter to the human rights organizations, and he's urging all these human rights organizations to take actions immediately and help out our members. Help out our members in Iran and all over the world who are getting oppressed right now by these oppressive governments, unfortunately. So he's saying, I'm Muhammad Amin, I'm 18 years old, I'm from Iran, I'm one of the members and the followers of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. It's been 42 days that I've been subjected to mental and emotional torture and abuse in Tehran Educational Correctional Center, which is for under 18s that are in this prison, only because of my belief and my religion. In such a way that I do not have the right to contact and visit my family members, and I'm forbidden to contact and visit anyone. And he said, by the way, in brackets, he said, by the way, it should be noted that I was in solitary confinement for 25 days. Imagine, 17 years alone. 17 years old.
Solitary confinement.
That's against that's against the UN laws. That's against humanity.
Intensive mind control program that they're throwing these people through, torture, prison, and I want everybody to imagine really quick before you go on. Imagine, think back when you were 17 years old. Think back trying to discover life, trying to discover who you are, just trying to make it out there. Still attached to parents, still attached to what you used to know, your comforts, your protection, and all of a sudden you are ripped away and thrown in a still jungle, concrete jungle with these people, with these guards that are torturing them, obviously attacking the belief system and trying to change them, trying to coerce them, trying to get them to make false testimonies, and making them feel like they are on the edge of death. And I think that you've had that experience with Muhammad. Maybe you've had other people tell you that they make you feel like you're not coming out.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And you know what? The point is they are not really trying to convert them back to their religious beliefs. And because they told one of our members inside the prison by the name of Muhammad Hashem, they told him, they said, listen, if you want to have your religion, you can have it. Just sign these papers, make these false confessions, because he was not confessing, he was not signing any papers, and they were torturing him. He was under a lot of physical and mental tortures. Muhammad Hashem, he got injuries in his arms. He said, still up to this day, I have pain in my arms. He had bleedings in his gums and teeth falling out. He had so many incidents inside the prison.
And he's one of the people who are marching tomorrow.
Exactly. He is one of the people who managed to escape. Here is his picture, Muhammad Hashem. And Muhammad Hashem told me, he said they reached a point with him because he was not signing any of those letters. And Muhammad Hashem said, he said, I was gonna stay there, and if they wanted to execute me, I was ready. This is how brave.
He's smart. They're saying, hey, you can have your religion.
Yes.
It's okay. You can believe what you want. Just sign this paper. Just
sign this paper and do not preach.
Yeah.
Two conditions. Sign this paper. Just say that you were homosexuals, you did homosexuality such acts, and your religious leaders are telling you do this and do that. Sign these papers, and we also going to record you on this camera saying everything that we are telling you to say. And at the same time, do not preach, but you can stay in your house and believe in what you want to believe.
What does signing that paper mean? I mean, what does signing that paper mean? Signing that paper means that you are now putting yourself up for potential execution or a longer prison sentence, because they're like, see, this member here, he just signed an affidavit saying that he's homosexual and that this entire religion not only protects it, but actually encourages it and forces it upon people.
They don't care about his life. They just want a tool, something to use in their propaganda war against the religion.
Yes. Exactly. So Muhammad Hashem was also telling me, the same stories. And here is Muhammad Amin. If you continue reading his letter, he is saying here, he says, and Muhammad Amin is very clever, even though he's young. He was at the time 17 years old. He said, according to Articles 18 and 19 of the Human Rights Law, no one should be imprisoned or persecuted for their beliefs. But the Islamic Republic of Iran treats the followers of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light against these articles. And then he continues saying, I, along with 14 friends whom are also members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, were arrested. 11 men, 2 kids and 2 women. And first they took us to Evin prison in Tehran, and by the police officers of Tehran's clergy, prosecutors, which are the scholars, religious scholars, they took us to their office. So over there, those scholars, they sit and they interrogate you, like such long interrogations. And they slapped few of our members in their faces while they were interrogating them, because the answers they were receiving they didn't like, so they physically slapped them. Imagine that. This is how the religious scholars are. And they took us there, they started interrogations, then they divided us into different groups. I have no information about the conditions of my friends. From the beginning, I was separated from them, and I was taken to Tehran Educational Correctional Center by one of the police officers who was there, whose name was Mojtaba Khalbi. And then I was mentally tortured and abused by someone named Hosseini. And to this day in this prison, I'm forbidden to meet and contact anyone. And he's saying here, he's demanding, he says, I request the human rights organization and international legal assemblies to immediately follow up on our case of religious belief for myself and for my friends. So this is the reality of our members in Iran. And we have so many other stories that even the family members, they had no mercy on these people. We have a story of one of the sisters by the name of Layla. And she's not young. At the time, she was 46 years old. All she did was she went to her family members. She announced her faith. She said, I believe in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. That's all she did. And they started to force feeding her pills and drugs, the family members. They said, listen, you're crazy, you're insane. And we actually have a testimony from Sister Layla. And Sister Layla, by the way, she's also part of these 106 people who are going to cross the border.
Can we play this testimony really
Yes,
quick for the
let's go
viewers
watch
at
her
home?
testimony.
من لیلا رستگارپناه هستم، عضو دین صلح و نور احمدی. از زمانی که به این دین ایمان آوردم و خانوادم مطلع شدن، شروع به آزار و اذیت و شکنجه من کردن. اونا حتی دست و پاهامو میبستن و بهم قرص میخوروندن و من رو به آسایشگاه روانی بردن و به من گفتن که تو دیوونه هستی. مدت‌ها منو تو اونجا بستری کردن و 8 بار شوک الکتریکی بهم دادن. مدام منو شکنجه می‌کردن. شوهرم از همین طریق وارد شد و چند صد میلیارد پول منو دزدید و مدام میگفت که زن من روانی مشکل داره. حتی با پلیس ایران همکاری میکرد و هر اکاذیبی که بگیم به من نسبت میداد، هر تهمتی که فکر کنیم به من نسبت میداد. خب از طرفی خواهرم همینطور باهاش همکاری میکرد، برادرم باهاش همکاری میکرد. علاوه بر اونها تو ایران شما میدونی وقتی که حکومت ایران وقتی مثلا حجابت رو رعایت نکنی چجوری برخورد میکنه. فکر کنم شوهر من با یه همچین حکومتی همکاری میکرد، با پلیس ایران همکاری میکرد. واقعا روز و شب آب خوش از گلوی من دستش پایین میگیرم. نه خواهرم نه برادرم هیچ پناهی نداشتم. مجبور شدم از ایران فرار کنم. شما حکومت ایران رو میدونین چجوریه؟ حتی دیگه همه دنیا میدونن، اخبار همه دنیا میدونن که خانومی به نام محمد امینی وقتی که به خاطر حجابش چجوری کشتنش، چجوری اخبارش دیگه به گوش همه رسید. فکر کنین وقت شوهر من با یه همچین حکومت ددمنش و دیو صفتی همکاری میکرد. خواهرم همکاری میکرد، برادرم همکاری میکرد. مجبور شدم فرار کردم و الانم جونم در خطره.
This is absolutely heartbreaking, and I think that it's not enough for people to hear us repeat nonstop. We've been beating the drums that their life is in danger. I mean, you can see it. I mean, forget what she's saying. I mean, look at her eyes, listen to her voice. This woman is not safe. This woman is not safe in Iran, simply for her, not just her beliefs in the religion, but the fact that she chooses to practice what we deem and what our leader, Abu Sadiq Abdullah Hashim, has said, that is her right to wear the hijab or not. It's not obligatory in the religion. And she gave an example, and she also too feels that from her family. This has been one of the big reasons for the the believers in the Muslim-backed states. The hijab has been a big issue.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this woman, her story is because she just did her personal choice of not wearing the hijab. Her family literally tied her. Imagine, physically tied her and force-fed her antipsychotic drugs, threw her in a mental asylum, in a mental institution. I mean, how crazy is that? Why? Because she believes that, alcohol is permissible. Because she believes LGBT members shouldn't be killed. Because she believes hijab is a personal choice.
It's a big statement. It's like they're not promoting homosexuality like the Iranian government is saying. We're not saying everybody be homosexual, you have to be homosexual. They're saying don't kill a homosexual.
Yes.
Don't kill people because of what they believe. Don't stone a woman to death because she chooses not to wear a hijab. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And the human rights organizations, they're backing us. They're backing the members. But in a state like Iran, I have to ask the question, and you know, I mean, you grew up there, you have family there, you've researched, you understand the condition there. Do they even care?
They don't care at all. Look, I even said it in that small documentary that we showed. Iran, they do not care about humanity at all. That's the last thing on their mind. The most important thing for them is their state. As long as our state is in charge, we have full power, and everyone under our control believe in our religion, we are good. Anyone say anything that we don't like, anybody criticize us a little bit, any blogger, YouTuber, anyone say a smallest of things against us, they are going down. They're going to take them in, interrogate them, put pressure on them, put pressure on their family members, to the point that the family members will take their own son and daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, and they force feed them pills and drugs, like the case that you just saw.
That's scary.
And this is just one story that you're hearing today. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of stories like this in Iran. For example, there is one article here, I brought it up, from thousands of articles that we have, that the family member, because an old man amongst them was drinking alcohol, they wanted this man to get executed by the government. So it's even the family, it's even the family members. They get scared too, because they don't want to, be threatened by the government. They don't want to go under the sword of the government. They don't want that. So the family members, they are also cooperating with the government. So for our members, and I am saying this, without a shadow of a doubt, with so many proofs that we have. For our members, it is absolutely impossible that they go back to Iran. They're going to get killed. They're going to get executed. These people are going to get killed for sure, without a shadow of a doubt.
More merciful that they just stay at the border and just
exactly.
and take whatever
without
comes.
any crimes. None of them have done any crimes. They are innocent people. And Iran is going to twist the words. They are going to continue with their propaganda. They are going to try to convince the people and their family members that these people are evil, and they're going to kill them.
And
through
use false
confessions. Yeah, false confessions, all these things that they are trying to do. There is no way that these people can go back to Iran.
I mean, exactly what he's saying is the case of Sayyid Ali. I mean, we've talked about him yesterday.
Yes.
Here's a man who just happened to be in a wedding.
Yeah.
So
Can we
a
get a
person
picture of Sayyid Ali
just doing his everyday thing. The people in his village, they knew about him. Obviously, he's not going to the Friday prayer. They knew that he's a member of the faith, and he's just continuing his life normally. He shows up one day at a wedding, and he is suddenly surrounded by two plain clothed policemen who crack his skull open in the middle of the wedding, just beat him on his head. The guy, I understood, he stood there, and here he is. Yeah. He bled for like a full 25 minutes.
Yes.
This is one of the most open daylight cases that we've seen, that we have on record. Look at this. I mean,
he said, by the way, he told me, he said they canceled the entire wedding because people freaked out. So the wedding, imagine the wedding was canceled, and he said even the police officers, they didn't want to take me to the hospital. It was my own family members that they loved me out of their love and care. They begged the police officers to bring an emergency car and take him to the hospital. Otherwise, this man would have been dead by now. So that was the mercy, out of mercy from his own family members, begging the police officers to take him to the hospital immediately. And he
so surreal. We saw him today earlier when we had that report.
He was on
there, and this is a man who he has nowhere else to go. I think
he left his two kids too, by the way.
Yeah, I think we also have a picture.
Yes.
I mean, look, this is.
He left his two kids in Iran, and he has no more contact with them. And it's extremely painful for him. Anybody
watching at home, forget belief or non-belief. I want you just to be a person today, and I want you to forget if you're not a believer in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, just put that to side. That's not what this is about right now. I want you to just be a mother I want you to be a father. I want you to be a brother and sister. I want you to look at these pictures, and I want you to imagine that this is you. I want you to imagine that these are your children. These are your family members that are facing the very same things because of what you believe, because you all believe something. So you have a belief, and the government won't allow you to practice your beliefs. And not only will they not allow you to practice it, they come and they physically beat you, they arrest you, they are persecuting you in a number of very violent, terrifying ways, to the point that now that you fear for your life, and then you get ripped away from your children, and now your children are left in a very hostile environment, and you're fighting for your life, trying to survive and trying to get back to them. I mean, people have to superimpose themselves in these situations to understand what's happening. That's humanity, and that's what we're taught in a religion, is humanity.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and that's why this program is Humanity Before Borders. Do not stop these people because of some political or religious stance that your government's taking. Right now, Turkey has the chance, Bulgaria has a chance to choose humanity before borders, allow them to go through, allow them to have safety, and reunite with their families again.
Yes. So we're going to find out if Turkey and Bulgaria are going to take the side of Iran, countries like Iran, who are absolutely against humanity. They show no support. They don't want to help humanity at all. They show nothing but enmity and brutality towards humanity, and that's what it is. So either Turkey and Bulgaria going to side with Iran and show the same reaction, show the same behavior towards these innocent people, or they are going to help them out and help humanity. We are going to find out.
These people, what they're asking for, they're just asking to put a claim for asylum. What that means in everyday language, they're just asking to be heard. So they're just saying, just allow us to come and tell you why we're prosecuted. Just hear us out. Just hear our case. And it's such a respect, a case that, or a request that you have to respect. I mean, are we really at that point that we can't even allow their case to be heard? The Bulgarian and Turkish authorities would be, by allowing them to put an application for international protection, would be doing exactly what they have bound themselves to. They would be acting upon their obligation according to international human rights law. And that is what this group have done their part. They have followed the legal pathways. They are presenting themselves tomorrow in front of the legal, official, formal border. And we are hoping, and the human rights movement and the international human rights organizations are urging and hoping that now the authorities are now keeping their end of the bargain, and they are also upholding their rights that they have committed themselves to. And this is why, precisely in the case of Iran, we saw this huge support of human rights organizations. In the case of the 15, one of them, and I hope maybe we can show the articles that the viewers can see them, one of them being Human Rights Without Frontiers, who are one of the top EU organizations that are active in the fields of religious freedoms. Here they have released this statement, and as the case was happening, and urging Iran to release the 13 members who have been detained.
This was late last year, December.
Yes. So the arrest happened in December after the release of the book. And here the Human Rights Without Frontiers is saying they're concerned about the safety and the life of members of this religious group labeled heretics and infidels in Iran.
Because they know what that means. That means that there's a death sentence on them.
Of course. And that's why they're saying we're urging the Iranian authorities to release all the members who are arrested and to drop all charges related to their beliefs. And other human rights organizations, so this was Human Rights Frontiers, this is Harana, or the Human Rights Activist News agency, also one of the top agencies that are reporting on human rights violations in Iran, also releasing this article in February saying that in December 2022, 50 members of a religious group called the Ahmadi Religion of Peace and Light were arrested by the Ministry of Intelligence agents and jailed in Evin prison. As Hamid Reza said, it's notorious for jailing people prisoners of conscience or activists. And it says, according to the reports obtained from multiple sources, these individuals were targeted and arrested due to their beliefs deemed heretical to Shia beliefs by Iran's regime. That's why they call them traitors. Simply because they don't subscribe to the so-called Wilayat al-Faqih. The arrest occurred on the 15th of December 2022, but it is unclear where the arrests took place. Harana issued this press release, but we also had the Iran International, as Hamid Reza said, one of the top TV station that is writing or documenting human rights abuses and violations that happen in Iran. That's Professor Arya Rasfar, who's the director of the religion. And we actually have the clip that we can watch now from the interview that Iran International did with Professor Rasfar.
Let's go ahead and play that clip.
راسفر بیشتر اصلا اگر که در ارتباط با این خبر واقعا جزئیات دیگری دارید من میشنوم. ضمن اینکه دوست دارم اصلا توضیح بدید برای ما که این گروه مذهبی به نام احمدی چه هست، که هستند، آیینشون چه هست.
خیلی ممنون. سلام و درود بر شما و همه بینندگان. این دین صلح نور احمدی یک دین جدیدی نیست، در واقع یک نهضتی هست که در 2004 در عراق شروع شد و ادعای مهمش اینه که به امام 12 وصلن و یه باورهای جدید و تحریفایی که در اسلام شده رو اومدن تصحیح بکنن و امروز میبینیم که در کشورهایی که به قول معروف اسلامی هستن خیلی از این دیدگاه ها داره باش مبارزه میشه و حساسیت نشون میدن. در الجزایر دیدیم که چند نفر زندان رفتن، الان هم تو ایران دارن بر علیه این گفته های این گروه دارن حرکت میکنن و کلا برمیگرده به اون اصولی که مهم است، اینه که باید آزادی بیان، آزادی فکر، آزادی اندیشه، آزادی باور، آزادی دین باید همیشه برقرار باشه.
و میدونیم که دلیل اینکه حکومت جمهوری اسلامی این افراد رو بازداشت کرده یا به هر حال به هر نوعی باشون داره مخالفت میکنه چه هست؟
بله، تازگی خب میدونین دوباره برمیگردیم به چند تا از نقاط مهم. این گروه باورش اینه که محمد بن حسن که امام 12 شیعیان میشه و در واقع مهدی اسلام هستش، این در 2015 ظهور کردن و داره پیام خودش رو منتشر میکنه و اصل موضوع خب خیلی از اعتقاداتی که ایشون دارن و این گروه داره با باورهایی که الان حاکم هستش اختلاف داره. بلخص مثلا ولایت فقیه و اصلا کلا این که مثلا روحانیت باید حکومت بکنن و جزئیات دیگه مثل حجاب اجباری، مثلا حجاب اجباری نباید باشه، مثلا کلا دین نباید اجباری باشه طبق خود آیه قرآن که میگه لا اکراه فی الدین، که دین نباید اصلا اجباری باشه. نقاط دیگه هم هست. یکی از نقاط خیلی جالب برای من شخصا این بود که مثلا تاریخ باستانی ایران رو به تاریخ کنونی وصل میکنه. مثلا فرض کنیم کوروش کبیر پیامبر هست، داریوش پیامبر هست، اردشیر شاه پیامبر هست، زردشت پیامبر هست. اینا رو همه تایید میکنن و این یه چیز جدیدیه که به نظر من ممکنه مثلا رؤسای کشور اسلامی، حالا در این مورد کشور ایران، ممکنه حساسیت داشته باشه نسبت به این نقاط.
سپاسگزارم از شما آریا راسفر، استاد دانشگاه ایلینای شیکاگو، همراه ما. متشکرم.
This was a recent interview from Professor Arya Rasfar with Iran International, a huge news agency, and as you can see, some of the main points that he focused on was Wilayat Faqih, hijab. These are obviously issues that Iran's trying to focus on greatly to what I clearly see as like a modern-day inquisition to snuff out the religion, its leader, its members, and to totally eradicate it. I can't understand anything else from what you guys have said other than that, and I don't have any other picture other than that. Iran wants to take the religion away. The Ahmadi religion of peace and light wants to remove it from Iran, and the members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light have no other choice but to leave Iran. I think that's the final message that we have to say, and that's what they intend to do tomorrow during the march. They are gathered. We will be getting updates throughout tonight in the morning. We will be with them every step of the way, starting early in the morning. Hamid, Reza, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done for our members throughout this course. They've certainly been through many tragedies, and I'm really praying for them and hoping that they can make it through for their sakes, for their family's sakes, and for everyone's sake. And I hope that the Turkish border police and Bulgarian side do the right thing. Again, I'd like to remind all of them that we are live streaming this via satellite all throughout the MENA region to 57 million people, and also via live stream on social media. Again, to stay up to date with everything that's going on in the studio and on the ground, go to our Facebook Live events page, Humanity Before Borders. Show your support. Leave your comments, donate, help us, call into the show, share your feedback. We are here for you all today and tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, thank you for joining us. We will be back in the next 10 to 15 minutes. We will be going into Iraq and its members, all the events that's been going on the ground with Dr. Aliyet. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.